Travel and transport. During our adventurous voyage, we booked an excursion to explore a new territory, paying the fare to reach the edge, where we caught up with breathtaking sights that stretched across vast distances. 2. Go away. Make for thrilling destinations, keep up with the speed limit, check in and drop off your bags, and get back in time to check out, all while embracing the opportunity to differ from your everyday routine. 3. During my business trip, I had to rearrange my schedule upon arrival, but I still managed to set off and go sightseeing to embrace the distant and enriching cultural experiences. 4. By accident, I recognized the grand entrance to a cultured event and decided to take off my shoes to fully immerse myself in the experience. 5. I will pull in my hat, run over in their direction, and see off the inhabitants across the breadth of the land. Hobbies, sport and games. 1. As the finale of the golf course happened, the spectator observed from the rink while the umpire held a fishing rod in hand. 2. After a series of misfortunes, he finally went off football, feeling knocked out, but he kept looking out for new interests to fill the gap left by the sport, appreciating the medallion as a reminder of his past passion. 3. With his knowledgeable approach to maintenance, he was equipped to put up with any challenges that arose, ensuring an enjoyable experience for all. 4. In order to remain competitive, the athlete decided to pull out of the competition and take up practical opportunities to be retrained by a referee. 5. He joined in the talent contest and made the best of it, taking pleasure in his performance and arriving on time, even though he didn't go in for or have a go at such things before. 6. He competed against his friends in soccer, but he was also fond of music and involved in the band, and he concentrated on his homework. Science and technology. 1. The artificial intelligence system was able to estimate the performance of the engine and the motor with high accuracy after running several experiments. 2. Apparently, the builder was cut off from the industry when he failed to deliver the project on time, despite his hard work and progress. 3. Importantly, the technician's observation of a psychological phenomenon that occurred in the laboratory led to an explanation and a reward for his revolutionary discovery. 4. She carried out the experiment before the power cut off and the results came off well, despite the equipment breaking down. 5. The scientific team did research on how much carbon dioxide the plants give off on average during the night. The media. 1. The columnist had to deny the rumors that he was cheating on his wife with the announcer of a popular quiz show, after a tabloid published a story with photos of them together at a hotel that featured a spa and a casino. 2. She liked to flick through the broadsheet newspapers every morning, looking for stories that corresponded with her interests and opinions, and then watch the broadcast of the latest bulletin on TV, hoping to find something believable. 3. The editor of the magazine was very communicative and humorous, but he refused to publish any articles that were not informative and relevant to the field of journalism. 4. The newsflash that interrupted the program had a ridiculous heading that claimed aliens had landed on Earth, and the commentator tried to empower the viewers by telling them not to believe everything they saw on TV. 5. He surfed the internet for a description of how to take control of his life and have an influence on others. 6. He questioned the plan that was put forward and took a view that was more realistic, but he had to go into the details to prove it. Work and business. 1. The fire made the applicant back out of the job and slowed down his commute, upsetting the manager who had to bring out the overtime policy. 2. The applicant had to take on more work and train to do some additional skills after his colleague was made redundant and he was asked to take over his job. 3. The applicant had to speed up his preparation and have an interview with the manager who was looking for someone experienced in commerce and specialized in online sales, but he was worried that he might be sacked if he asked for any additional benefits. 4. She was helpful and dedicated to her job, but she could not deliver the expected results and she was not effective or employable in the industrial sector, so she decided to retire early and enjoy her pension. 5. She wanted to resign from her profession as a supervisor of machinery workers and take on a new responsibility that would give her a chance for a promotion, but she was not sure if she was workable enough for the change. 6. The employee had to stand in for his boss who was sick and see to all the tasks that he had set out for the day, including interviewing a new applicant who claimed he could see through any problem and set to work immediately. 7. When the company decided to turn down his proposal and close down his department, he felt a sense of duty to make a complaint and have a day off. People and society. 1. Despite the technical glitch that interrupted the live stream, the presenter skillfully established a strong connection with the audience, taking full blame for the mishap to please them, even though it was not entirely his fault. 2. In the ancient ruins, an unknown artifact was discovered, defying typical expectations and confounding the ordinary experts, prompting them to seek assistance from renowned archaeologists. 3. Despite his infamous reputation for being bad-tempered, he surprised everyone with his polite and sympathetic demeanor, showcasing a hidden sensitive side. 4. I asked after her well-being to relate to her recent struggles, and in the mood for compassion, I decided to make up with her by taking pity on her and offering my support. 5. After my father passed away, I had to bring up my younger siblings and make sure we all got on with each other despite the immense loss we experienced. Although we had our disagreements along the way, I always looked up to my mother for her strength and resilience, even during the times when we fell out with each other. 6. She stood up for herself when they tried to pick on her, refusing to fall for their taunts or be taken aback by their attempts to put her down, as she looked down on their mean-spirited behavior. 7. After much deliberation, they finally agreed on a plan to do a favor and convince their parents of their relationship to gain their approval, so they could settle down together without the need for any disguise. 8. Despite facing a ban from participating in the competition, she didn't object to the decision and instead relied on her own determination to achieve success, remaining independent of any external support. 9. In their argumentative correspondence, fueled by jealousy, they stubbornly and disobediently communicated impersonally, never truly understanding each other's perspective. The law and crime. 1. Based on the evidence and proof presented, the judge charged the suspect and accused them of committing the crime, leading to a verdict being reached. 2. The jury, as the embodiment of justice, must ensure the protection of individual rights while responsibly deciding whether to prosecute a case and deliberating the weighty matter of capital punishment, all in order to prevent any potential persecution. 3. The burglar, found guilty of the crime, was arrested and sentenced to a term of corporal punishment while the concerned bystanders looked on. 4. The solicitor worked tirelessly to prove the innocence of the wrongly imprisoned victim, while the vandal and hooligan roamed free, causing chaos in the city. 5. During the prison breakout, the inmates were able to get away with the help of the guards who decided to make off with them, but as they were trying to escape, an alarm went off, forcing them to quickly hand in their weapons and surrender. 6. After carefully considering the situation, we decided not to back down and instead bring in a team of experts to look into the matter and take down any useful tips they may have. 7. The cops chased after the robber after some witnesses came forward with proof of him holding up people, but the robber was quickly let off after denying and taking in the cops with false evidence. 8. By mistake, she made an accusation against her colleague on account of their previous disagreements, choosing to find fault with their actions instead of trying to take advantage of their unique skills. 9. The teacher, with the intention of teaching a lesson, gave an order to put the blame on the student who on purpose placed the books on the shelf the wrong way up. 10. In order to work out a solution to the problem, it is important to reason with each other and be willing to forgive, claiming that forgiveness is not only moral but also legal for all parties involved. 11. During the investigative process, the suspect was caught attempting to catch a glimpse of the forged documents and was subsequently made to do community service for his unlawful actions. 12. Evidently, the offender was a repeated addict and had a history of theft, which ultimately led to his involvement in a murder. 13. I have great respect for the security measures here, as they effectively disprove any possibility of robbery. Health and fitness. 1. After undergoing a successful operation, the prescribed remedy alleviated the sore, effectively providing relief from the painful effects. 2. After undergoing therapy for her persistent infection, the nurse carefully applied a fresh plaster to the patient's wound in the hospital ward to fix the problem. 3. After a slim dose of medication, the rash began to subside, and I was able to come round and look after myself with renewed energy. 4. During the pandemic breakout, many individuals were unfortunately susceptible to illnesses it brought on, causing them to come down with minor symptoms and leaving them in poor health, while others discovered they were allergic to certain substances. 5. Despite feeling under the weather, she managed to pull through and get over her illness by deciding to cut down on strenuous activities and give up unhealthy habits, eventually feeling up to taking on new challenges. 6. After receiving the injection, the bear passed out, and before the sedative started to wear off, the medical team safely put down the animal and proceeded to operate on it. 7. If you put on weight, a doctor may prescribe medicine to help you get in shape, as spreading over an unhealthy range wouldn't do you any good. 8. Despite the challenges, making an attempt to cope with difficult situations is likely to lead to personal growth, which is a benefit of embracing adversity. 9. He complained of suffering from addiction, needing something worth doing, but no matter how hard they tried, nothing seemed to satisfy him. 10. Cooperative and emphatic communication can strengthen relationships and lead to beneficial outcomes, allowing individuals to comfortably express their needs and concerns. 11. After undergoing a surgically precise treatment, the patient was advised not to run a bath for fear of exposing their healing wounds to potentially poisonous substances. Food and drink. 1. The cook used the hob to roast the ingredients and placed them on the grate, creating a delicious meal in the cooker. 2. As a vegetarian, I began to take to exploring different cuisines and searching through the catalog of restaurants offering delicious plant-based options for takeaway. 3. I decided to drop in on my friend unannounced and found her struggling to retrieve a frozen saucer from the back of her overflowing freezer, realizing she had accidentally left out the kettle for tea. 4. I was in the middle of making a vegan chocolate mousse when I realized I had run out of sugar, so I quickly dropped the whisk and ran to the store in the freezing cold to get some, and while I was there I also picked up a fizzy drink to quench my thirst. 5. The food has gone off, so I came around to my friend's house to try out some health food. Turned out it wasn't too bad. 6. It was getting on for noon, and while jogging, I happened to run into an old friend I had been putting off meeting, but it turned out to be a pleasant surprise as we kept on chatting about our lives and the conversation went on for hours. 7. On the occasion of his birthday, we turned up to do the cooking and prepared a feast to feed on while we drank to his health. 8. I suggest we fill it up with laughter and love, set the table with joy and gratitude, and drink a toast to a life full of beautiful moments. 9. I am willing to note down this recipe for disaster as long as you reserve a table and promise not to make me do the washing up. 10. I choose to regard him as being careful of his actions and always compliment him on his positive qualities, refusing to associate him with any negativity. 11. Unsurprisingly, those who tend to unappreciatively disregard the struggles of others may unknowingly contribute to heightened anxiety and leave them feeling disgusted. 12. She was lacking in confidence, but with her offer to do the project, she unleashed a content and creatively captivating mixture of ideas. 13. The thoroughly homegrown sweetener, which originates from a small village, became the savior of the local economy, leading to a preparatory phase of prosperity. Education and learning. 1. To succeed in your career, it's important to give in to the idea that the qualifications of your colleague truly count when determining who will pass the next round of promotions. 2. The diligent prefect took measures to ensure everyone received their certificate while managing to catch on with the lesson and effectively deal with any challenges that arose. 3. After dropping out of college, it dawned on the former pupil that obtaining a degree was crucial to their success, so they eventually came round to the idea of returning to school. 4. As the teacher was giving instructions, she had to cross out a few unnecessary sentences to get at the main point and draw the students' attention to the important details, hoping they would get on with the task and not boast of their accomplishments before it was finished. 5. Before you sit for an exam, you should set out a study plan and think over the material carefully, so that you can keep up with the coursework and sail through the exam with confidence. 6. While listening to my friend's reasoning for having been inattentive in class, I made up my mind to teach him a lesson so that he could see the point in paying attention. 7. Give him a break, she said, he had no idea about the unsolvable problem. Bear in mind, he's usually quite studious. 8. I was in two minds about the situation, trying to hold an opinion, but eventually, I had to pass over to a different perspective to make sense of it and settle for a more balanced understanding. 9. While engaging in hands-on activities, I usually make a point of choosing tasks that are suitable for my interests and capabilities, as they not only help me learn by doing but are also capable of allowing creative ideas to cross my mind. 10. I would like to congratulate him on his academic achievement, as he succeeded in becoming a certified teacher, and encourage him to intensify his efforts in reaching even greater heights. 11. Scholastic literacy is the key to educational success and improved attendance rates. 12. The illiterate attendant's thoughtless actions unreasonably contrasted with the scholarly atmosphere of the establishment. Fashion and design. 1. She decided to put on a vibrant costume and dye her hair to enhance her average appearance. 2. As I took a quick glance at the clothing section, I knew that the blouse and the top on the rack would suit me perfectly. 3. The current shortage of raw materials forced the manufacturing company to draw up a plan to ensure a steady supply and catch a glimpse of potential opportunities for sourcing alternatives. 4. When I was a kid, I loved to dress up in my mom's clothes, but as I grew out of that phase, I caught on to my own sense of style and learned how to wear clothes that don't easily wear out and are always in style. 5. The artist decided to tear up their old work of art to do away with the past, in combination with their newfound inspiration, creating a masterpiece to hand down to future generations. 6. When you pop into my place, I'll show you around and we can go over the latest fashion trends while you try on different outfits, and don't forget to grab a clothes peg to keep your favorite garments in place. 7. She decided to set an example for her friends by embracing her unique style, taking off the constraints of conformity clothes, and daring to go out of fashion by getting a bold new hairdo and flawlessly applied makeup. 8. She decided to pay him a compliment on his impeccable style, as he let his hair down and revealed a striking striped pattern shirt, all while confidently taking off his makeup, proving he truly had good taste. 9. It seems that fashion trends often follow a pattern, where some go out of style and others have a tendency to set a trend. 10. I would advise against constantly criticizing others and insist on looking beyond appearances, as what may seem to be a flaw might actually hold great beauty when we take the time to truly stare at it. 11. Anxious to make a good impression, she referred to her notes indecisively, realizing that her approach was dissimilarly structured to her colleagues, but determined to learn plenty more from the experience. 12. As an enthusiast of music, I am proud to refer him to my friend who shares a similarity in the taste of music, which is a desirable trait in any friendship. 13. Despite approaching the task unenthusiastically, I completed it with an expectancy of success, fueled by my innate likeness for challenges, proving that even in moments when I feel unproductive, my stylishness can still shine through. 14. The undecided shopper was initially drawn in by the attractively designed advert, but it was the fashionably displayed merchandise and the genuine enthusiasm of the sales staff that ultimately won them over. Unit 20. Weather and the environment. 1. The bandit have taken control of the Suburban, cut off all routes there, and now is expecting the police to fulfill his demands. 2. The fire in the residence caused by the thunderstroke has been burning for a long time, despite all effort to put it out. 3. Recent extreme weather can be put down to be the effect of climate change. 4. The result of the test has gotten him down so much that he likely has been under the weather for a week because he is disappointed in himself. 5. We are short on time to fulfill our responsibility towards nature before certain species become extinct. 6. He made a fuss about his mother throw away his cigarette, which clearly is dangerous for his development. 7. Facing up to the hard truth is essential when we find ourselves in a mess, as it allows us to be aware of the situation and take the necessary steps to resolve it. 8. Litter has unfortunately become a common sight around the world, even in locations famous for its natural beauty. 9. We need to call for collective action to protect the environment and put an end to pollution. 10. As the night set in, the city streets were covered with a thin layer of ice after an unexpected freezing rain shower. 11. Considering it a waste of time, she let her frustration die down before finally deciding to look at the problem lying on the floor. 12. It is forecasted that there will be heavy rain in the neighborhood today, but the clouds will clear up soon, then it will be a sunny day. 13. To prevent great harm to the ecosystem, it is essential to preserve the reservoir rather than tearing it down. 14. She boldly stood for her beliefs, warning others about the global issue at hand, with a clear determination to make a positive difference. 15. Living in an urban area, the residents are constantly surrounded by smog, making it difficult to accurately assess the true beauty of their surroundings. 16. The marathon competition on the plane has been called off due to numerous puddles caused by the drizzling rain. 17. I am familiar with most of the concepts, except for the lower level of expertise required to do up that particular task. Unit 22. Money and shopping. 1. Despite living on a tight budget and often being short of money, she managed to get through each month by carefully planning her pay-to-use for shopping. 2. He has made a fortune by profiting from selling fake luxuries at a high price. 3. He invested in the least risky stock he can afford and bank on its increase in the future. 4. The demand for a product can drastically change the price of it for a certain amount. 5. He decided to cut on his daily expenses until he can save up enough money to pay for his debt. 6. He get by the economic crisis only by borrowing money from relatives and selling his valuable items. 7. Assistants is expected to help notice their bosses of events they could forget to help them spend time more efficiently. 8. After realizing the mistake at the checkout, she returned to the store with the receipt to request a cash refund. 9. When he unexpectedly came into great wealth, many people argued that it didn't belong to him. 10. She managed to come by a fantastic discount on her favorite brand, turning it into a great bargain that she couldn't resist. 11. By putting a portion of her earnings by each month, she was able to accumulate enough profit to comfortably pay for unexpected bills when they arose. 12. By accepting to do without reputation, he managed to make up for his family both financially and emotionally. 13. I came across an old friend who was looking around the city and making out a plan to buy a house there. 14. Although he's poor, he's still willing to lend others money and giving away meals for orphans. Unit 24, Entertainment. 1. She auditioned for the play as a comedian, but she didn't rehearse well and worried about the scenery, so she counted on her humor and charm. 2. The comedian did not let down his audience as he showed off his skills and joked about various topics, making them feel like they could make themselves at home in the theater. 3. He laughed at the people who queued up to take part in the contest, but he did not play a role in throwing a party afterwards. 4. She showed appreciation for the gift he gave her in silence, as she did not want to avoid doing her homework and enjoy herself too much. 5. Currently, she conversed with her amusing friend and was happy to do her homework. 6. The orchestra put on an impressive performance that truly deserved the fame and recognition it received from the audience. 7. What's novel about magic is audience, who are bound to norms, are likely to fall for the trick first time they see it, and find that it is entertaining and fun. 8. Criticism plays an important part in the success of a movie's popularity. 9. Having enjoyed comic and cartoon for a long time, it's amusing to see how varied they are currently.